Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about all the exciting news from D23 because guess what? We're there right now in the hotel ready to record. We're going to talk about movies, TV shows, and of course, the con, everything we got up to this week in Geek.
We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Hello, I'm J-Law, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things Geekcentric and all things D23. As I mentioned, we are live from Anaheim, California. We have wrapped our final panel for the weekend, and we're going to talk about all the fun stuff we got up to. But I can't do this alone because I literally can't because I'm in a room with three other people around me, and you can probably hear them. And yeah, we're in our hotel. I apologize in advance for my voice. It's a little worn. It's been a long weekend, right? It's been a really long weekend, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Joining me today is Nate.
Just Nate. I'm a magical mouse, and we're having a magical time. And my voice sounds like this now. Hopefully not forever, but it's just because I was screaming about, freaking
Miley Cyrus.
The Rock, we just saw so many incredible people in front of us, like multiple times. I think we were talking about Kevin Feige, tonight we're like, oh, this is the third time we saw him.
Yeah, and speaking of Kevin's, joining us is Mr. Kevin Hudson.
How we doing, guys? It's been a heck of a weekend, and my voice sounds perfect as always because I'm not much of a screamer.
No.
Well, that's not what your wife says. And also with us is Darcy, the know-it-all Hudson.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's really weird being able to look you guys in the eyes, and it's directly in the eyes right now. We've spent all weekend together, and this is the first I felt close,
Yeah, I don't think we've done live in-person recording since 2020.
With one microphone, by the way, so you're gonna hear it being, passed around.
Yeah, and stuff's gonna happen. So you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Kevin's not a screamer, so it's fine.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
can get passed around.
Yeah, exactly. I put the mic to you because I thought you had something to say in rebuttal to the screamer. Okay, listen, we're wasting time. We're delirious. We're tired. We don't have time to waste. Let's get right into it. The way this podcast is going to work for today's This Week in Geek at D23, Nate's going to walk us through all the studio stuff that happened from the Friday night panel, which was the Disney Studio Experience. Then Kev is going to walk us through Saturday night's presentation, which was the Disney Experiences, so all the park stuff that happened. We're not going to get into too much detail about everything we saw, but before we get into talking about the panels, let's just kind of talk about our overall experience. This is our first time going to D23, guys. How did you guys feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I think we were all very overwhelmed. We are seasoned con professionals, and even we found it a little bit, overwhelming. And I think we've been to San Diego Comic-Cons. We've been to obviously Toronto Fan Expo. Shout out Toronto. Whoop whoop. We've been to Star Wars celebrations, and I think, and this is something I was telling you, Justin, was this is probably the best way I can condense my feelings about D23 is that it sort of sits in the middle between a Star Wars celebration and a San Diego Comic-Con. We got to see some really incredible installations. Our friends at Roosevelt's had an awesome one that they were doing for the first time. We got to see some phenomenal stuff from Disney directly. Check out our Instagram for my incredible singing capability with Taylor Swift, or my incredible Mickey Mouse thing. And I'm going to pass the mic to Darcy to have him just take it away from me.
Yeah, totally. I have to agree with you there. The blend between
That I was amazing. Yes.
No, I was trying to go before that. Don't okay. But yeah, before what you're saying, like the fact that it's a blend of the Comic-Con and the Star Wars Celebration, like you said, we get the focus of everything there is Disney oriented.
Yeah.
But the scale of these presentations and the fact that like 90% of that show floor was Disney, like closely either Disney produced or closely Disney related, like longtime collaborators. It was really cool to see such a again, that scale brought to everything we love so much. It was so overwhelming that first day. I think we all thought we could have handled it a bit better that Friday, but I think by the end of it, we got a really good con out of it all.
Well, and I know for Darcy and myself, we've been DVC, Disney Vacation Club members for almost 15 years now. But even before that, my mom was a subscriber to D23 magazine from the time it came out. So I can remember 15 years ago reading those D23 magazines and just feeling like we were part of a club, being in that D23 club, just getting those magazines. And then as we've grown up here in the world of geek culture and started doing conventions and stuff, this was always kind of, for me, especially with Comic-Con out of the way, this was the bucket list item to finally get to go to the mother of all Disney conventions. And I think what's really amazing is we're at the best time to do that because Disney encapsulates so much of the geek world and entertainment world, and you could really feel that on the show floor. Like, you could not look somewhere without seeing one of your top 50 all-time favorite characters in tribute in some way. It was a dream come true in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree with all of the sentiments that have been shared. I think the one thing that was really interesting about this convention experience was the level of Disneyfication. I don't know if that's a word. I'm just going to make it up anyways. But the Disneyfying of the con experience, a lot of virtual queues, a lot of reservations required, just like you were at a park. Like, this was a massive expo. This was a massive convention. And to your point, Kevin, like, yeah, like Disney houses all of our fandoms that we really, really, really adore and that we hold close to our hearts because of nostalgia and just what we've grown up with. And so this was a huge, like, amazing experience to actually be there and to experience it with such a club of Disney nerds. But I wonder, like, we talked about this offline, like, there's just so much that's going on. You're never going to do everything. There is no way you're going to do everything unless you are like 5 a.m. in line and every day you're there till close. But with this whole new Honda Center approach of taking people away from the expo or from the convention to another venue, people are leaving early. They have to account for that time. So, you know, I think that in itself is part of the process of this convention. It's a much different experience than any of the other ones that we've ever been to.
And I'm going to, check out our Instagram, check out our socials for some stuff that we got up to. But to your point, Justin, like 100%, you when you're going into this and you're getting to see all the different installations, if you're looking it up online, you're using the hashtag D23, and you're seeing, I want to do that, or if they have that next time, I want to do that, or if you kind of hear about the con leading up to it and you think, okay, I'm going to do these 10 things. Scale it back. That is probably my biggest piece of advice coming out of this convention. Scale your expectations back. You're still going to be blown out of the water with all the incredible things you get to see. You are still going to be in a ton of lineups. I will say, and I know, Kevin, I'll pass it to you really quick. Just you at one point you kind of said like D23, maybe the D stands for don't get to do that. Is that's Kevinism, but no, I think it was. When we did get through the long lineups to see the things we got to see, it was always incredibly rewarding and worth the wait. But just scale it back, maybe 2 things, and then everything else is extra.
I think, this was such a personification of how conventions have evolved since I went to my first Comic-Con almost 10 years ago. The installations, like we've been talking about, are so top-notch. They're so well-crafted and well thought out. There's so much love put into them. It's not just a poster slapped on a wall or a cardboard cutout of a character. There was a 12-foot-tall statue of Maui that you could pose in front of and feel like you were on the raft with Maui and Moana. And it was those kind of little moments. And again, you didn't have to do everything to get little pieces of magic no matter what you got to do. And all of those experiences had that Disney magic. And then, we've mentioned the Honda Center and the nighttime performances. That translated over to that show so well. I have seen, convention presentations. I've seen Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and I've never in my life seen a presentation put on the way Disney did this weekend at the Honda Center. The pageantry, the excellence, the exuberance. We're talking pyro. We're talking confetti and snow falling from the ceiling. We're talking about 15 live performances from some of the biggest artists in the world. And then the celebrities just pouring onto the stage all weekend long. It was unbelievable. And then my favorite thing of the whole weekend was the stage itself. Usually you see a black screen and they play video clips on the screen. And even, but the stage itself was a character that evolved throughout the weekend. Every night looked different. Every night felt different. And they used the stage in like 10 different ways to present these amazing things, be it performers, be it actors, be it movies and TV shows that they're proud to share with us, park presentations. Everything felt different. And the screen, it was like we were watching the volume, and it was evolving throughout the nights, and the presentation was the best I've ever seen for something like this.
And I think it's what you expect from Disney at this level and scale. And I think that's part of the reason why they treated the convention as the convention portion, and then the evening events were exactly that. They were evening events, presentations full of a lot of surprises, a lot of great news, which many of you probably already heard, but we're going to give our thoughts on. Before we get into the showcase discussion, just want to take a second here and thank Disney Studios Canada for getting us tickets to the Friday showcase and tickets to the Saturday showcase. We did come here with just tickets to the Legends panel, which we will talk about. But Disney Studios Canada hooked us up, and we are so grateful. Thank you. Yes, thank you from all of us. It was such an honor to be in that room with those fans, to experience everything with them. And part of the reason why my voice sounds the way it does has everything to do with those big-ass showcases. So without further ado, Nate, why don't we start talking about the D23 Studio Showcase?
Yeah, so the event was hosted by the incredible Yvette Nicole Brown. Darcy and I have gotten a chance to attend a few things that she's hosted, and she is just the greatest, and her ability to just keep up with what was going on was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Again, she's a fan at heart, and you can tell it in her presentation. So it's so much fun to hear from a fan and have a fan guide us through these experiences.
And I think since Talking Dead and her time hosting on that show, you could see that right there. So obviously, Bob Iger, Big Bob Iger came out. I don't know if he likes being called Big Bob. Maybe I shouldn't call him. But Bob Iger came out, and we got, he discussed the legacy of Disney Entertainment and really what it means for everyone. And he thanked everyone for being there, and really just talked about how we are the audience and everyone involved and every Disney fan is the reason that they do what they do. And it opened to an incredible sort of fanfare with just the most beautiful clips of all of our favorite Disney projects. So we started with Moana 2. It was pretty shocking to just see everything involved, and there was a little bit of a moment where I was trying to film something, and they're like, "Oh, no filming," and I'm like, "But Ali'i Carvalho is here, Moana herself, singing a brand new song from Moana 2," and somebody else came out to kind of get the crowd hyped. I'm going to pass it over to Kevin because he wants to talk about Moana 2.
Well, finally, The Rock came back. I'm not sure if he's been at D23, but he's certainly been in Anaheim, one particular match at WrestleMania 14. But no, The Rock came out and gave that big Maui energy, and that's kind of your first indication, as if we didn't know already, just how big and special this night was going to be and how full of surprises it was going to be. But no, I mean, with all the incredible announcements, it might be a bit surprising, but for me, Moana 2 is the one that got me the most amped. Obviously, we knew it was coming, but to get that sneak peek at a brand new song and just sort of feel what that music is going to feel like in that movie, and also just for me, this is like the first movie I'm looking forward to going to the theater with months in advance with my daughter. Something I look forward to doing for the rest of my life, and so it was just so special to sort of just feel that excitement for this movie coming out. And I think the presentation, again, this was, another, we had dancers and pageantry and the show on the screen. It was just larger than life, and really painted the picture that like we're getting a second Moana. It's a big deal, and it's going to be so much fun. So I was blown away.
And just in terms of that stagecraft that you mentioned earlier, getting to sort of be in that convention hall. If you happen to check out our Instagram or any videos online of just the stage, but also the entire area, the entire arena was lit up. There were panels around. It was just the coolest thing if you're a fan of technology and presentations and the way Disney does things. We got a chance to hear from James Cameron, fellow Canadian Jimmy Cameron, came out on stage and announced, talked about Avatar, talked about how wonderful it was. Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington came out with him and announced the title, Avatar: Fire and Ash. We kind of knew fire would be involved in somehow. Darcy was saying they just keep doing the other Avatar, it seems like, with the different elements, right? But then we quickly transitioned. Pete Docter came out and discussed how incredible the legacy of Pixar has been. And what's that? I got there. And so we started off just kind of hearing about things like Dream Productions. And our first look at Win or Lose, which is a new series coming soon. And we got to see a few other things, but Darcy wants to say something.
Yeah. I gotta say, from the Pixar portion of this presentation, I am most excited for Win or Lose. Just the way that the what we got to see, they're gonna be pushing the boundaries of animation yet again, and it looks like so many different styles of art are gonna influence this story. It looks like different characters will have different perceptions of what's going on, and just I can't wait to see what Pixar does with this heartwarming sports series. I can't wait.
Absolutely, and we got to sort of see a little bit on the show floor. They were showing some clips from the show. It looks phenomenal. I'm really excited to talk about that, and hopefully we get to cover it. I think the thing for me that I popped off quite a bit for had to definitely be Toy Story 5 and some of the different elements that we learned about Toy Story 5. And I know, Kevin, you were sharing with me that you're pretty excited about kind of what the toys are kind of going up against.
I think it's time that the toys move on from discovering the value of friendship and camaraderie and face a new type of obstacle. And it's technology's taking over, right? And there was a joke made about how everyone's on their phone right now. Who has time to play with a toy? And so I think it's so fun that if we're gonna get another Toy Story, it's gonna be a fresh take on the obstacle that the toys have to face.
Yeah, and I think it's very contemporary, right? Like it's speaking to something that is going on right now, almost similar to how the original Toy Story, talking about kids' imaginations and the imaginations of toys all together. So I think if you're going to add a new, fresh perspective to Toy Story, I totally agree. I think you need to bring it to a place that really does connect with the audience in that way.
And Pixar kept rolling. We got a sneak peek at Hoppers, which is this weird beaver movie where John Hamm is going to be a villain, Mayor Jerry, and it looks very intriguing, very different for Pixar, which is really cool. Elio is their next project, and we got to hear from Zoe Saldana again and Jonas Cabreb, who just was having such a wonderful time. I can only imagine for someone so young how cool an experience that would be. But I think the thing that got the biggest pop, I'm going to let Justin kind of talk about it because he had tears coming from his eyes and he looked incredible.
I don't know how incredible I look when I'm crying, but I definitely popped off for Incredibles 3. I think that's like, I really enjoy those stories. I enjoy that world and what it looks like. That retro futuristic 60s vibe. I think it's also really funny that we will probably get Fantastic Four before Incredibles 3, but also the fact that Brad Bird is a part of the project. I think that's really, really great. So there was nothing shared other than just Incredibles 3. And I think that's gonna be. I'm hoping that they can come through and pull off another good family superhero and catching up with them and seeing maybe we're in a different time period or there's new situations for the family. So excited for that one.
Well, and I think there's the writers at Pixar never cease to amaze me in terms of how original they can be and just how they can come up with new stories. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing just how they make that different than the first two. But speaking of two, that's a weird transition. But Jennifer Goodwin came out on stage. You might know her as a lovely bunny character from Zootopia, Judy Hopps. Zootopia 2 was announced as we moved into the Disney animation side of things. November 2025 release date, which got me super stoked. But I know we all kind of freaked out when we learned that Ke Huy Quan is announced for Zootopia 2 as a snake named Gary, and that reptiles are going to be kind of taken over in the land of Zootopia.
As the second animal role for Ke Huy Quan, I hope he gets a better story for the character this time, at least.
Absolutely. Our thoughts, about Kung Fu Panda 4 can be heard in an earlier episode of our podcast. They were interesting, but we loved him, and we love him, and we're very excited. And then we got a first concept art shown for something I'm going to get Kevin to talk about.
Oh, you're going to let go of the mic?
I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, okay, nice. I mean, Disney knows when they've got a good thing, and obviously Frozen, especially when we see just how many lands across their parks all over the world are getting this Frozen treatment. You kind of need to keep that engine going, and so we are getting a Frozen 3, and we got some very early concept art, and it looks like it's taking this story in a new direction. It looks very ethereal. It looks very spiritual, and it looks almost has these hints of like an old Bambi or Sleeping Beauty and sort of the landscapes that we see in the concept art. It looks like a fresh take on a smash hit that they have.
Well, and a friend of mine reached out to me when she saw our post with the art and said it's giving her the Last Unicorn vibes, and I don't think the movie's going to look like the way the art does, but it definitely looks like something fresh and something new, which is going to be fantastic for Frozen fans. Now, we are huge Star Wars fans.
Are we?
We are huge Star Wars fans, and we got some really cool stuff from Lucasfilm, and I wanted to kind of dive into that. And I wanted to kind of open it up to the group for any of the Lucasfilm announcements. Jon Favreau was on stage. Dave Filoni came on stage at one point. Who would love to maybe chime in with their favorite thing they saw from Lucasfilm in this panel?
I talked about it when we were at Celebration last year, but I was really excited for Skeleton Crew and what we got to see this time with Jude Law coming out to talk a bit more about what the story is going to be like and where they're going to be going and what we got to see from the show. I cannot wait to see this Amblin adventure in the Star Wars universe because it looks like it's going to be a delightful joyride with some very haunting moments, and just the way the places are going to take you is like a classic Amblin film where it'll make you feel all the feels and just be such a satisfying journey on the way through there.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew is definitely the kid-friendly adventure that it's sort of a new genre within Star Wars that I think is going to work well, and the trailer definitely gives that vibe of Goonies, but there's some mystery and some thrills to be expected. I was really surprised by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau coming to the stage with footage of Mandalorian and Grogu. That they've started shooting and it's early days, but the things we saw in that footage was wild. I was kind of surprised at how much visual effects has already been implemented with that thus far.
Yeah, it absolutely. It was very shocking to sort of see. I think that some of the footage was definitely stuff that we've seen from previous Mandalorian seasons, but the ability to, the fact that we got to see anything at all that was new, whether it be the return of not maybe the Razor Crest, but a Razor Crest, unless it's a flashback, the ability to see the fact, yes, our favorite guy from Rebels, Zeb, showing up again, and it's a movie. They got the budget. He could be a main character, and that is the coolest thing. Or the walker, seeing Grogu's little ears flap back as the two-legged walker is running down a snowy hill. These are just things that, again, like you were saying, Justin, the fact that these effects are finished, even though they're so early days into production. I think I can't remember whether it was John or Dave that let it slip. I think it might have been John, that this is going to be the last D23 before the movie comes out. which A, means D23 isn't happening again for 2 years, which I think is just the common thing, and B, 2 years away. That is incredibly exciting.
Yeah, and I think that was the highlight for me. Like, you know, we got Andor, we got a little flavor reel of Andor, but you know what Dave and John brought to stage really does give us a flavor of what to expect for this upcoming adventure for the Mandalorian and Grogu. So yeah, I'm stoked. I'm excited to see what that movie has entailed for us.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, we also got to see some pretty cool stuff from the one and only Kevin Feige, who discussed some incredible new, stuff that we knew with Marvel. I think quite a bit of it. In fact, almost all of it was something that we knew about already.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna just say about this portion of the panel is that it really was just more or less things that have already been discussed, things that have already been shared. We get to see them. Yeah, of course, we got to see them for sure, but it was there was nothing overtly new that was kind of positioned, if I'm not mistaken. Everything was more about what was in development and what was coming soon over the next 2 years, which again there was a lot to share, but it really was just kind of reiterating what's next.
But even in that regard, I mean, of course, we know Agatha All Along is coming. We're getting that in just a few short months around the the Halloween holiday season. But how does Disney make that feel special? They give us a unbelievable performance with Catherine Hahn and the cast of the show. It was so. It had a
Deborah Jo Rupp was rocking out.
Deborah Jo Rupp is just Kitty in real life. I've decided she was so giddy and so excited to be there. Like she was so contagious as she did her little Kitty bounce on the stage. But like again, sure we know Agatha's coming. We've gotten trailers, but to celebrate that it's coming to us, they had an unbelievable musical performance, and that was the theme of the night. Was just not just showing us these projects that are coming, but celebrating them in a way only Disney can.
Yeah, and I just want to correct something. We did get something new. We got Ironheart.
Yeah.
So, and that was something that I actually predicted. I said we should get something from Ironheart, and we did. We actually got a really interesting trailer for that show, and it really does add everything felt like more of like a flavor reel rather than like a full-fledged trailer, just to give more of a sense to the audience of what to anticipate.
And I think the coolest thing with Ironheart is that it looks like a lot of fun. And it looks, I will say, if you weren't a fan of Ironheart's suit in Wakanda Forever, well, good news, she gets a new suit, and it looks perfect. And I'm really, really excited. And even, watching that trailer, I think the one thing that stood out to me were the influences from Iron Man and the respect that they put on Iron Man. At one point, you do hear that sort of anvil sound in the trailer very clearly, and so you can really see sort of what they're doing with that show, and I really hope that the trailer comes out soon for everyone to see if it isn't already.
Yeah, and for sure. I mean, I think the thing I got from Ironheart was more, I can't wait to see Anthony Ramos in it and what he brings to the character. He looks like he's playing the Hood, and he is the sinister paths they're going to go with this character. It's going to go to some dark places, which kind of leads me to what I was most excited from this panel, was what we got to see from Born Again and what they talked about and revealed. And as soon as we, what we got to see from Born Again instantly took me back to that first time sitting down watching the Netflix's Daredevil, and how hard hitting everything is. Every punch you feel, everything thrown lands so hard, and I cannot wait to see Marvel bring this back to the MCU.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the one thing that's nice is that even in that little flavor reel, you can see that they've kept true to what the original Daredevil, and there's some interesting surprises. I'm excited for people to see that. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move along here at a quick pace. But, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, we got to not see anything from season 2. Did we get a trailer? I can't even. It was going so fast, you guys. Like, at one point, Yvette Nicole Brown was out of breath, and she's like, give us a minute. I'm like, give me a minute, Yvette. Jeez. But, obviously, the cast came out on stage, Aryan Samhadri, Leah Jeffries as well, and, of course, Walker Scobell, who knows, came out and they talked about what they're excited for. And, of course, I think Darcy knows the most about Percy, but just really quickly remind me, Darcy, there's going to be a brother, Cyclops, kind of.
Yeah, we're gonna meet Perseus' half brother Cyclops, and just again the stuff they get up to in this next season. Just to be warned, Mr. D becomes a lot more involved throughout the rest of the series, so that just kind of entails the fun that we're gonna have on this ride.
You're going to get more Jason Mantzoukas, and he was at the they had a Percy Jackson panel as well, specifically, and we saw him. He was just having a blast. Now, speaking of having a blast, really quickly, I do want to shout out a clip that should go viral. I don't know if it will, but it's going to go viral in my heart, Kevin, because David Blaine came out on stage. Now, before we got into the panel, we were all handed an envelope, a black envelope with a heart, Queen of Hearts symbol on it, and it said, "Do not open, do not open." And we didn't. We were very good, and we didn't open. But I was standing in line with a family and a mother and her son and daughter, and her son was like, maybe it's a Gambit thing, because it felt like a deck of cards, had a Queen of Hearts on it. I was like, little bro, if you're telling me it's a Gambit thing, then I'm going to lose my mind. It wasn't a Gambit thing. And I was a little disappointed, I'll be honest with you. When David Blaine came out, I was like, oh, that's what it is. New David Blaine show. But he blew our freaking minds. I'll leave a tease for you. All I will say is maybe, Justin, maybe that was the moment that you lost your voice.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised with his little magic trick that he decided to pull off with the largest audience to do a card trick all at once. It was pretty wild, man. It was wild.
It's the coolest thing. So again, check out our Instagram, and you can check out our tweet as well, where just Justin is freaking out. Now, we got into a little bit of stuff with Disney live action, and I wanted to kind of open it up to you guys again. What's one thing you wanted to highlight that you really, really enjoyed from Disney's live action offering?
I have to say, I've never been the biggest Tron fan. Ooh, yeah. But like, this movie just looks incredible, and I think the biggest announcement to come of it, not just the villain, but the music. That's such an integral part of the Tron series, and to go from Daft Punk, it's like, where do you go from here? Oh, just 3 or 4 time Oscar nominated, and he's won at least once, right? Trent Reznor and the Nine Inch Nails band. They had lasers shooting at the screen, carving in the classic NIN logo, and it was just like, oh, they're going for something different, and you could just feel the vibe of what the music's going to bring. But, of course, there was also a big reveal about a pretty important star.
Yeah, Nine Inch Nails is to hear that they're going to kind of be continuing with the soundtrack, the score. It almost feels like they're going to be spiritually doing a sequel to that score. And I think this movie, from the footage that we saw, looks a little darker per se. It gets a little more real. I think it's very topical based on what they shared around the existence of AI. But yeah, it's to have Nine Inch Nails stepping in to kind of continue the work that Daft Punk did. I think you're going to hear that theme, that Tron theme that you know and love, but it's going to be far more electric, and I think it's going to hit a different tone than what the original score did.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little more hardcore, I think, and it definitely, those were the vibes that we got from this trailer, and I think it just looked very Blade Runner-y to me, and that got me so excited, and I love that we're going to more mature places with this franchise, and it's so exciting. I wanted to throw it to Darcy. Was there anything that stood out for you in this? I mean, we got to see a little blue guy, and he kind of took over the entire arena.
Yeah, again, these shows went on for so long that you're like, oh, they got to be done now. That was a big thing to close on. That's what we're going to end on. And then, this Nine Inch Nails thing happens, and then, or maybe it was before, again, whirlwind of an event. But the screen starts glitching out, and you're like, why do I hear, some little growling going on or whatever? And then we get the reveal of live-action Stitch as he tears through the Disney castle, and it's just... They could not do a better job of bringing this character to a 3D format, because he looks so damn adorable. I just want to squeeze the guy, and you can tell he's so soft and probably also slobbery because it's Stitch. I cannot wait.
Yeah, he looks great. He's perfect. He's literally perfect. I don't think that you could get it any better than the way they did the texture on the hair and everything. And the little video that they popped out after, where it's basically the same animation with the reveal date of 2025 for Lilo and Stitch, which I'm super stoked. Summer of 2025 to be exact.
Well, and I think, as if they weren't selling enough Stitch plushies to begin with, we're going to see a whole new line, and I'm cautiously optimistic. I think seeing that got me a little more excited. I remember when the leaks came out, we were very much like Darcy was saying, like it kind of looks, it's giving early Ugly Sonic vibes. Shout out to Ugly Sonic, but thankfully it is not Ugly Sonic coming through as live action Stitch.
Well, it's smart too because it's like they didn't give us a trailer, right? So, they kind of held back because they were probably going to still develop. Rather, they did give us the introduction of this character and what he looks like. So I think that was a smarter choice at this point in the game. But to your point, optimistically cautious is the way to approach because it looks good. Let's see what we get when we get a trailer.
Optimistically cautious and cautiously optimistic. Pardon me?
You know who's directing it? Who? Your favorite film of a little shell. Dean Fleischerkamp, who directed Marcel the Shell with Shoes, a movie that took people's hearts by storm, is the director of this movie. So I trust that there's going to be a level of heart that we're going to be getting from this movie. But to your point, when it comes to bringing these beloved animated features to the live action, there's always a little bit of disconnect. So, cautiously optimistic is probably the approach to go with.
100%. Now, as if things couldn't get any freakier, we did get to hear the announcement of the new Freaky Friday film. Of course, we knew it was in development and being worked on, but we got to see a few screenshots. Both Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis came out, discussed how they're both mothers in this film, which is a really interesting way to go about it, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope it makes me cry. The last thing I wanted to shout out as my thing that I actually was shocked by was just how excited I was after seeing the next trailer. We already had a trailer for Mufasa, The Lion King, but this new trailer really is hammering home. We got to see a musical moment from it as well. There is going to be singing, so get ready for that. Lin-Manuel Miranda is doing the music, so if you like him, if you don't, whatever. But I will tell you, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry watching this movie because we're going to get to see this relationship of these loving brothers. Taka is Scar and then Mufasa. They're going to be split up and we know where that ends up. So I'm looking forward to crying. I love crying. And that's kind of where they ended off things for the entire of the entertainment panel. Lebo M came out. Are you kidding me? Who sings all of your favorite songs in The Lion King. Absolutely phenomenal to see Lebo M perform live. But yeah, that was the coolest thing. And that was the entertainment panel as far as I'm aware. And there might have been, listen, we're going super fast with this, so we didn't talk about everything because, how long was that panel? Like 9 hours?
Well, let's just take a moment and just reflect on that. This panel was scheduled to be a 2-hour panel. It actually was 3 hours. And like to Darcy's point, as he was mentioning before, they just didn't stop. They just kept going. We didn't talk about the Broadway stuff. We didn't even talk about the Fantastic Four stuff that we saw, which was the same stuff that was shared at San Diego Comic-Con. But you know what? We need to get to our next day of special presentations, of showcases, and that is the Experience Showcase. To lead us through this conversation is Mr. Kevin Hudson.
Boys, you haven't had enough clapping over the weekend. We've been clapping we clapped for like 9 hours this weekend. I think we can give it a rest. But speaking of, the clapping continued on Saturday as we moved into the experiences portion of the weekend, and Disney, after several years of teasing a lot of projects, of sharing ideas, we got so many confirmations. We've moved past Project Blue Sky. We are breaking ground. And Josh Stamaro was our host for the evening as he guided us through what's essentially the next 4 to 5 years of Disney developments at parks around the world. And we literally did travel to all 6 parks to see something new, something exciting is coming to every single park around the world. We'll try and highlight some of our favorite aspects of those. But just from a show perspective, there was so much going on here. This was once again billed as a 2-hour show, and it went 3 hours. But There wasn't a second where there wasn't something incredibly entertaining going on the stage. I mean, the show opens with everyone's Uncle Jesse, John Stamos, coming out, singing "A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes," and it just sort of set the tone for the evening. It was all about wishes coming true, as so many things fans have been hoping for, wanting at Disney parks for so long are reality now. It's not speculation, it's not maybes, it's just a matter of when. But the performances didn't stop there. I'm just going to run through these because it's insane. We had a live-action Hector from Coco performing Remember Me. We had Pentatonics come out and just kill it. We had Meghan Trainor sing Walt Disney's favorite song, Feed the Birds. The Plain White T's played a sick pop-punk cover of Pressure from Encanto. Shabuzi performed Life is a Highway from Cars. Susan Egan, the voice of Meg, sang Won't Say I'm in Love from Hercules. All for One performed I Swear, promoting their new cruise.
All for One performed I Swear. Like, I think I was the only one standing up, but I was freaking out, man. That was incredible.
Abby Carter kicked it with Deadpool. Yeah. The whole night was just full of these unbelievable performances, and they were all to celebrate, once again, announcements for things coming to the Disney parks and the cruise lines around the world. Really quickly, the cruise line, the Disney Cruise Line family is growing from 9 to 13 ships between now and by 2031. And so that's sort of a fun way to literally make sure Disney is covering all of the oceans around the world. But between the oceans on the land, they had announcements for incredible new things coming to parks around the world. We'll start in Paris, where I'm a little jealous of this one because this sounds incredible. We are getting not just another extension of the Arendelle park experience, but we are finally getting The Lion King in a Disney park, in a whole new Savannah Pride Rock themed land, including a log flume ride. Darce, were you excited about that one?
This is the one that was outside of our home base in Florida. This was the one that I was most stoked for because, like you said, we've been waiting forever for a Lion King ride, and now we're getting one that is, as soon as you see the images, you're taken back to your Splash Mountain storyline, and just the way that we're going to follow Simba from youth to adulthood, culminating in this big drop. I cannot wait for this ride to be the core of a really cool experience.
And of course, as we're going through the evening, everything is being gracefully and masterfully narrated by a live orchestra on the stage. At one point, we discover Ke Huy Quan is the secret conductor of the evening, which was just such a fun moment. And we also had our hosts, Skylar Austin and Darren Criss, who did a really, really fun job. They felt like Oscar hosts, I thought, and they did musical numbers.
That's a good selection.
If that was their audition to like sort of do this live and everything, I think they did a terrific job. They had a lot of fun. They did some parodies of Disney songs, and again, all just celebrating and capturing what that Disney park experience is all about. But I think obviously the biggest news came from the two North American parks. Where we are right now, Disneyland in Anaheim, and our kind of home base park, Disney World. These parks are seeing some incredible changes over the next few years. Just looking at what's coming to California, we've talked about James Cameron and Avatar 3, and to really help push this idea, we're getting a brand new Avatar land in Disneyland.
Yeah, and my biggest question is where the hell are they putting it, right? Like, after spending the last 2 days at Disneyland, it's pretty compact. It's pretty tight, and there's not much land like in Disney World. So that's the biggest mystery of it all. But yeah, they're gonna be adding another land, and it's gonna, again, much like how Pandora fueled the world of Avatar, this new land will be inspired by the stories of the more recent movies that are going to be coming out soon, like Way of Water, which is already out, and then the latest one, Fire and Ash, and then future movies is what they insinuated. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and it's really cool that we got to see some mock-ups on the floor today after last night's reveals, and we got to see some of the concept art and some of the notes they had going into this, and how they really wanted to draw from what's to come, what we've seen, and anything in between, basically. So it is going to take us to a new corner of Pandora, and it's going to be really neat.
Yeah, I'm excited that it's not just going to be Pandora West. Yeah. It's going to be a new land. That's how this sort of thing should be done, to really give you that incentive to travel around the world and see new things. But that is far from all that we got at Disneyland. I mentioned Meghan Trainor with her beautiful performance of Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins, and that was to celebrate one of the coolest pieces of animatronic news I think we've ever kind of heard. It's something that's been in the work apparently for decades, and it's so fitting that they spent enough time to make sure that the technology was ready to do something as important as this, and that's they're going to be having a presentation-style show with the man who started this all himself, Walt Disney. A Magical Life is the show, and it will be featuring an animatronic of Walt telling audiences the story of his journey.
And going off what Darcy was mentioning, we had the opportunity to check out the Imagineering booth, which featured some of these new animatronics, and it kind of showed us. And I'm wondering if Walt was the sort of guinea pig of how they were going to perfect this. It's obviously something that they've been working on for a while, but focusing it on Walt and how this experience is going to be, it makes a lot of sense. It kind of feels prolific in a lot of ways.
To me, it feels like Walt is the end game for animatronics. Like they said, they took so long because they want to do it right, and the fact that it's taken this long and what we got to see today, it's going to be mind-blowing. He will be standing before all us fans as he tells us how he got to where he was, and it's incredible.
Speaking of incredible, no, not incredible necessarily, but another family of superheroes is also getting a massive new addition to the Disneyland parks. And that is, of course, Avengers Campus is growing. They described the experience as being, we set up Avengers Campus to train superheroes, and now it's time to see you, the audience, as the superheroes. And these experiences, 2 new rides, not just one, because we kind of had an idea about one around King Thanos, but another really cool sounding ride. They both sound incredible.
So yeah, the King Thanos ride, we did get confirmation that construction starts next year. We went by the Imagineering area as well, and saw like a little sort of cutout of King Thanos. He's very tall, if that is the size that he is. But the fourth attraction coming to Avengers Campus, Stark Flight Lab, which is so cool. I think it was discussed that you're going to want to try it multiple times to try different test flights with different heroes. And of course, we've, with Guardians, for instance, getting to ride that and experiencing different songs over and over again, whether it be in the tower or at Epcot. I think they're so smart with how they get us to sort of go on these rides over and over again. And I just have to mention Bob Iger. We saw he got to do some tests on it. I'm very jealous of Bob, as if I wasn't jealous enough of Bob Iger. He got to ride with the Robert Downey Jr., who will be reprising his role as Iron Man, Tony Stark, for the ride, and that is just the coolest thing. We love our sound-alikes. We love our voice actors that do the sound-alikes. They're incredible, but having the actual voice is so dang cool.
It's really interesting, too, because this is just on the heels of him being announced to play Victor Von Doom, and now he's returning to Tony Stark. So at some point in time, you can watch him as Doom and then ride a ride with him as Tony, and I can't wait to see again what they do with this new expansion. And again, just the fact that there's a variation of rides, like again the ride more than once. Both parks, I'm going to kind of steal a bit of the hosting duties from Kevin here. They announced that both parks are getting new sequences for Smuggler's Run featuring Mandalorian and Grogu, and I think is long overdue, because we knew, again, Star Tours is where this varied ride originated almost, and they've done it so well and had so much for that this was only a matter of time that we get a new addition to Smuggler's Run.
And as you were mentioning, Kev, like a lot of these things we kind of suspected, we knew, and we saw the opportunity with Smuggler's Run to be able to have that flexibility of introducing, new stories and new worlds that the ship could take us to, that very much tied into what was going on in the show and in the movies. And I think this is our first step in that direction of understanding how the Millennium Falcon is going to be leveraged that way.
Well, and just one more thing regarding Disneyland California, specifically Disney California Adventure, Avengers Campus. Deadpool. I mean, we didn't get a chance, unfortunately. I know you boys probably will because you guys are going to stay for like another 2 months or something. But I mean, knowing your mom, it's going to happen. But no, I think, Justin and I really did want to try to check it out, but we were just, I was so crazy that day, D23 day at the parks. But seeing Deadpool come out on the stage to pitch new ideas for Disney parks, Kevin, you were saying like they've found a way to nail Deadpool, and the way to do that is to break the fourth wall for Disney parks fans. There are Disney fans, but then there are Disney parks fans, and the experiences of eating on a trash can or seeing Disney poke fun at things like the dragon burning down. These are things that to bring levity to those situations and to be able to do it all in a very Deadpool way, but at the same time, not vulgar and good for kids. And kids probably don't understand half the jokes, but parents do. And again, Disney Parks fans understand these experiences that bring us all together. And that's what he's sort of chiming in on is so cool.
Yeah, that was one of my bigger surprises of the night is how well they're going to handle this character going forward outside of the rated R movies. They just showed how much they understand the character, and he's going to have such a presence, I think, in Avengers Campus. I'm really excited to sort of see how he could almost be your sort of fourth wall host as you enjoy that land. That's such a cool idea. They really are showing that they're trying to evolve their way of thinking in the way they're doing their parks, while also staying traditional. We got one more announcement out of Disney, the Anaheim side of things, and that was they are breaking ground on the very first Coco ride ever, and it looks like just such a perfect old school Disney ride, that sort of dark ride that's going to be water. It's just, again, it's yet meeting this unbelievable new technology that we've seen in the Rapunzel or the Tangled ride in Tokyo, just bringing this beautiful, vibrant world to life while also feeling like a classic Disney ride.
And if anything, these lands tend to be opportunities for Disney to experiment with rides before they take them to other parks. So, you say a water ride on a boat, very Pirates, very, very Frozen. What I thought of was the Three Caballeros.
No, never get rid of the Three Caballeros. That stays forever.
Well, it could be something that we could see, and I think that again, given the infrastructure that's there at that specific park in Epcot, it could come there eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they've already got Coco stuff as soon as you walk into that area in Epcot in the Mexico Pavilion. So it's like, just do it. Like they're ready. They're clearly trying to. But
Leave
Darcy's
those 3 birds. Leave those 3 birds alone.
Darcy's a big Donald fan. What are you gonna do?
See, but I think Darcy's representing the most difficult side of the parks fan base right now. An unwillingness to change, adapt, and grow. And I know that certain things have to be forever.
That might be a little harsh. I think he's just a big fan of Donald Duck.
No, but I don't mean Darcy regarding everything. I know you're so excited for new things, but there are people who are just so reluctant to let things go. So listen to Elsa. Let it go. Sometimes you have to. Small World will always be there. The train will always be there. But certain aspects need to evolve and grow to keep new audiences interested and wanting to see their favorite characters in real life. And I think some of this change is going to hit most impactfully at our home park, Disney World, where specifically in the Magic Kingdom, where it looks like they might be getting rid of some land that's been used in one way and one way only since the very beginning of the park, and that's the Tom Sawyer riverboat ride in Frontierland, because they kind of surprised us with an announcement there. Everyone thought that was going to be a certain Beyond Thunder Mountain project, but it looks like it might have some different wheels on it, if you will. It's hitting the road in a different direction. We're getting a Cars Land or a Cars experience with 2 rides in the Magic Kingdom, and I know our brother Kelly was drooling at the idea.
Yeah, and what I think is interesting is the fact that they're choosing to place it in Frontierland, because Wild West, how do you fit cars there? And the fact that they're going with the route of these cars are a very Western-inspired setting with this derby, like wild off-roading experience you're going to be going on. It seems it's about time. Again, Cars is a massive franchise, like it or hate it, if you will. I think that third movie is gold. So I'm also pretty stoked for this to see, again, Cars come to our home park.
Yeah, I concur. Cars 3 is awesome. I also concur that I think it's great that we're getting more like Cars attraction after experiencing Cars Land here in Disney California, which is just so magical. I know it's a buzzword, but I'm just gonna say it. It is so much fun. It is so cool to see. I'm excited to see how they adapt and bring a new land, a new world of cars to the Magic Kingdom, and it sounds like they found a way. Again, given Cars 3 with the Derby reference.
Again, they're finding ways to not just cut and paste things we've seen already. They're expanding the legacy of these properties in new, fresh ways, while also paying homage to properties we haven't seen represented in parks yet. Going over to what is probably my favorite park in Disney World, Hollywood Studios. This was the surprise announcement of the night. Everything had kind of been rumored, speculated. Will they, won't they? This next announcement, I'll let Nate sort of have the drama to announce it, but this came out of nowhere and was a massive reveal.
Well, I'll just say this. I wouldn't have nothing if I didn't have you. Those were the words sung by Billy Crystal, who came out onto the stage to just massive applause. And how incredible was it to hear from the voice of Mike Wazowski. He made some incredible jokes. He was so funny as always. But then he just shocks everyone when he announces a Monsters, Inc. land coming to Hollywood Studios in 2025. You heard that right. A Monsters, Inc. land. Not just one attraction, but a land.
And again, you said land it looks so cool. Again, I am so excited. It's so out of nowhere. I'm so frazzled. But the attraction they revealed for this land, this first suspended coaster at Disney in the door vault with Mike and Sully there with you along for the ride. They say that you're going to get picked up after being loaded and whisked away into the vault. Again, something else we got to see on the floor was a concept layout for this ride, and it is insane looking. The fact that it looks like by the end of the ride, you are under where you started, and once you're off those chairs, they're going up to the next floor just to be loaded up again. And it seems this might be the fastest turnover on a roller coaster if they do this right.
And I think the land piece comes into effect with the idea of how they've talked about you're going to be able to walk through the streets of Monstropolis and actually see and touch things just like you would in Toy Story Land, or in Batuu, right? Like they're going to give more context and world building elements to leading into the ride, which is really, really nice. They're going to focus on it. It'd be nice to just walk around and run into a monster, right? And be able to talk. And some of the concept art of just showing that, maybe there's some restaurants there and stuff like that, like a sushi restaurant. They got to put a sushi restaurant there.
Well, and I just hope personally that we get something to do with that guy that goes, "Oh, she picked me up and she shook me like a dog." Like I just want him to be maybe like the main attraction. Just make him the biggest deal in the marketing. It's gonna be great.
Obviously, a massive announcement for the Hollywood Studios park. I think maybe the park that got the least attention this year, at least, certainly because they've, obviously added the Guardians ride within the last few years. But Epcot got a little bit of news. We found out that Test Track will be opening later next year. And there was also an announcement for kind of a cool-sounding lounge. They called it the Spaceship Earth Lounge. The concept art I was like, is that underneath, sort of looking out from under the big Epcot ball? Like, that's such a fun, cool idea that, like, it's a must. In a park that already has a lot of fun places to drink, you're going to add another? Like, let's make Epcot the boozy park just even more. I love it.
It already is.
Not only a fun place to drink, I think that might be the prime viewing location for the upcoming nighttime spectaculars, because that they will be redoing that, and with a straight shot down that walkway from Spaceship Earth, it's going to be insane. And I think like it looks like they are taking nighttime spectaculars past the castle or center points, and they're trying to bring everything in to other parts. And I cannot wait for the nighttime spectaculars to come.
Well, and speaking of those, we got many announcements for new nighttime spectaculars all over the world, but most specifically, the biggest news, die-hard, old-school Magic Kingdom fans are going to be we're obviously elated to find out that we are getting an all-new nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom, the first new parade in, I couldn't even tell you how long. Maybe I should have done a little research, but it's been a long, long time. That was the one that Darcy and I instantly tweeted our mom, like, you're getting a new nighttime parade. That was a really exciting announcement in that regard. But for me, we saw him inducted tonight as a legend in the Disney Legends category tonight. Harrison Ford himself. Indiana Jones is finally getting a ride. We've always had the stunt spectacular, but we're getting a ride. We are over at Animal Kingdom, and we are getting a whole new, not just a ride. Sorry, Dino Land USA. You had your time. The carnival theme was fun, but it's time to move over for a whole South American vibe, swooping in with just some really fun announcements.
Well, and I just want to, similar to Darcy's feelings about the Three Caballeros, I am very excited for this to change, even though I do want to just mention Dino Land USA is probably one of the first things that I can remember about my experience coming to Disneyland for the very first time when I was really little, getting to go on the ride and having the giant red Carnotaurus chase us was so thrilling for me as a little kid. And I'm an only child and I just get what I want. So but I had to carry it. And to this day, on one of our most recent trips, getting to see that they still have the giant red Carnotaurus like plushie. I don't know. It's like made of rubber and stuff like that, but it's huge. I don't know how I carried it through the park. But there's definitely some stuff with Dino Land USA that I will miss. Shout out to Aladon or whatever his name is, that dinosaur from Dinosaur, because he was cool and that ride was cool. But very exciting to see that. And then we also got some stuff involving Tropical Americas is kind of the name of the area, and it will feature. And I don't know does anyone want to chime in here, Kevin?
We are getting the Casa de Madrigal. We are getting an Encanto attraction. I think just the sound of the house itself, the fact that they described it as this living, place where I think we're going to see it literally breathing and interacting with fans, with shutters flipping and things behind the windows, and it's going to sing and be alive, and it's going to be unbelievable. Only then to lead us into our first Encanto attraction.
And it sounds like they're going to be putting in the bedroom with the rainforest of Antonio's bedroom. It's going to be really interesting because they have all of the foliage, if you will, in place. They can obviously add more. It'll be interesting to see. Do we get a waterfall? Do we get all these other elements when we kind of, going from like this sort of Spanish-inspired house to a rainforest? It's going to be crazy to see how they achieve that.
Well, yeah, and the fact that they're not only going to the rainforest, apparently because the premise of the ride is that we're all visiting on Antonio's birthday, so it fits within the canon. Now we can all see ourselves on that in that room on that day, and how we get there is on a journey through the house as the casita comes alive to take us on a journey through all the Madrigal's rooms. Maybe we see someone no one talks about, other things,
I mean, don't talk about him. We can't talk about him. I'm not going to talk about Bruno. But I did. We'll beep it out. I did want to also just mention, talking about where this would fit. When we first heard about this last D23 as sort of a blue sky idea amongst maybe something else that we will get to, it was one of those things where I was like, I just don't know where it would make sense. But the moment they announced Antonio's room and all the animals, absolutely, I think Animal Kingdom is such a wonderful, wonderful spot to put that. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And I think it's perfect.
Well, and then speaking of animals, we also got an announcement that to sort of round off the land itself, we're going to be getting a brand new Disney carousel which they're such a special attraction and so near and dear to like old school original Disney from Walt's vision, and to know that we're getting hand carved wooden animals from all of our favorite Disney attractions. We saw the concept art today. We actually saw a physical Kevin from Up, beautifully painted, so ornate in the details. Kevin's a great name.
Kevin's a girl, though.
That's fine. That's loud and proud. But no, to think like, oh, I want to ride Puma this time. I want to ride Nala or Simba this time. I think that's going to be so fun. And it's a beautiful way to round off the land, including there's a big market restaurant that they're going to do there. It's going to be a whole big experience. And I know I keep droning on and on about how Disney World is getting all these experiences, but at one point in the show, they did say that everyone around the world has a chance to play as some of their favorite Disney characters. The event was being streamed in one place and one place only. It was actually streamed on Fortnite. And they announced that they had 1 million people watching the view. So obviously they're getting some traction there. And this was all in an effort to sort of promote their commitment to getting into the gaming side of experiences. And we got some reveals about some pretty fun skins for some certain Marvel and Pixar characters. I think The Incredibles and who do we have? We had Wolverine as a banana. What's his name? What are we calling him?
Vereen, but Darcy mentioned it. Like,
It's a missed opportunity for Deadpool, especially with how popular Deadpool is right now. Missed chance.
But I guess Wolverine's a or Wolverine's yellow and bananas are too. So there we go. Wolverine's a banana as well. But no, I won't quite leave Animal Kingdom just yet because we're also getting a new show. We're not getting a Zootopia Land. I'm sad to say, not yet at least.
Travel for that.
Yeah, darn. Shoot. Shanghai, I guess so. But no, we are getting Bug's Life. It's gonna be sad to see the show go. But again, certain things just don't last forever, and I think this show needed something new and fresh and an upgrade.
As much as I'm sure the little bugs probably made Kevin scream louder than he ever has this weekend.
This is true.
Yeah.
I did have a similar screaming experience on a certain Universal ride that I will not name right now. The Mummy. But no, we are getting a Zootopia-inspired show at the Tree of Life, and as a huge fan of Zootopia, I am very, very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm stoked too, and I just want to reiterate. While I understand it's sad to see things go, I think some of the heartfelt loss that comes from it, at least in my case, is how late you can discover some of these rides. Like I only found about the Three Caballeros, despite it being there since Epcot's opening, I believe. I only found about that at Kevin's wedding in 2020. So Disney is so large that you can continuously find new things to do, and then when you find those new things, it's very hard to part with, I think. And like Disney's only getting bigger, so these things there's going to be memories and stories to be told forever at these parks. And I think that's what's really cool, and that's what this whole weekend has been about. But enough of that.
Well, only because we've been saving the best for last, as they did at the presentation itself. This is the one that people have been talking about for at least a year since it was teased at the last D23, and it was, are we going to get to see the dark side of things at the Magic Kingdom of all places? And they finally confirmed it. We are breaking ground. They are using the it's 4 acres or 14 acres. It's the biggest single expansion at once that they've ever done at the park. And we are getting Villains Land. It's happening. It's coming. Rita Ora came out and sort of just set the tone. And it's happening. And I don't know, like, Nate, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just, getting to experience the Haunted Mansion, and going through that queue, it was the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay here, but getting to go through the queue with your daughter, Kevin, and just hearing her sing all the different Nightmare Before Christmas songs and how much she loves boo, spooky ghosts and all the wonderful things that she says and what have you. It's one of those things where I'm so excited to get to see Villains Land through her perspective as well. But it's so cool and it's just so interesting, the idea of going to those darker places. But I think the thing about it is, villains, they're evil, but they're beloved, right? And we all love Scar. We love Maleficent. We love these larger than life villains that are just sort of, sometimes really scary. But I think they'll have an even easier time than with Deadpool making this work for all ages and for families and really having a really fun time with it. And I think the biggest thing that I'm hoping for is that we just sort of get to see a little bit more from the villains' perspectives of things, where we kind of go into the land and sort of feel like, oh man, like I don't know how I feel because these are all villains, but then coming out of it, we're kind of like, you know what? I think that mirror might be right about a few things or whatever, that witch is kind of,
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing about a villain's land seems like something that Disney's wanted to do for a while, at least coming from Disney World. The scariest thing at that park, in my memory, of course, is that weird fever dream you go on in Winnie the Pooh. Of course, I don't remember Mr. Toad's Wild Ride from when I was younger. Maybe I didn't ride it because it's horrifying after experiencing it here.
You go to hell. Justin went on it for the first time, and he's like, why did we go to hell and then walk into Disneyland? Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. Disney has wanted to go to these dark places for so long. Pinocchio, Snow White even has some shocking scenes in this park, and the fact that these things have happened since inception, I think they're going to be able to again take it to that family-friendly place, but also leave you with that childhood fear of the unknown and the dark side type thing. I love it.
Well, let's just think about it too. Like all the movies, all the rides, the whole experience. It has, magic. It has thrills. It has a little fear and a little. Everything is always sort of mixed in. And to your point, like the rides have a little bit of all of that all at once. It's going to be nice to see Magic Kingdom in Orlando get a huge, massive treatment and focus on villains, because the villains are always the characters that audiences connect with the most, right? Like they appreciate them, and the concept art for what this land could look like is absolutely stunning. And you can see in a lot of ways in the concept art where they've actually probably leveraged or done some things already, while also bringing new elements that they haven't done yet to this park specifically.
Yeah, the concept art we saw was obviously very, very early in development, but it really made me hopeful that we're going to get kind of one of those transitions that they're getting really, really good at. Like, just picture you're at Hollywood Studios and you are suddenly walking into Toy Story Land and you feel like you've been shrunk down to the size of a toy, and you walk through that, and then all of a sudden it seamlessly transitions and you're walking onto Batuu. Like, the way they've mastered this sort of transitional between landscapes and lands is unbelievable. And so to walk past the castle and walk past the carousel and walk past Belle's castle and that sort of feeling into a darker villainous world, just I really hope they nail that feeling. And in the concept art, I did see a giant maleficent dragon breathing fire. Like, are we gonna have a Diagon Alley style Gringotts dragon? But at Disney, let's do it. Come on, do it, and do it bigger.
And hopefully this one doesn't burn down.
Yes, they won't make it out of the same material. Yeah. They've learned. But again, it's early stages, but we did get the announcement that there's going to be 2 different attractions. And at one point we were warned, you poor unfortunate souls, be prepared. Wow. Does that mean we're getting like Ursula and Scar taking over the Magic Kingdom? Do we have any predictions about what these 2 attractions might be, who we might see?
I think that's a safe bet. I think, using those words, I think definitely insinuates that that's where the inspiration for the rides are going to come from. But that said, it could be something that fuses all the villains together, right? I wonder if that's something that we could see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I hope they kind of go. Maybe one ride is Ursula or Scar focused. Maybe they're trying to just give us a couple red flags, red herrings, trying to get our nerd brains going crazy. But I think it'd be neat if we it's like a good storybook. It always starts with a kid getting lost in a forest, or going down a dark street. And it'd be neat if this pathway into the new land or whatever takes you down that road, and you're almost at every turn. At every turn, you have a different villain that leads you on this story of just, again, childhood fear. Trying to bring that what makes a good Disney villain is epic songs and just memorable visual imagery. Charisma. Yes. So I have so much hope for this park or this land. I can't wait.
And I just want to quickly chime in and just say, like, just make sure we get something sick with Hades. Like, I want some dope Hades stuff. I want pain and panic leading me through an experience, laughing along the way, and just give me James Woods, voicing Hades throughout, and just having an incredible time. Maybe going into hell, but this time in a more fun way.
I mean, I can almost see him having even more fun with it, where Hades runs a kitchen, and it's Hades' kitchen, and he's just barking orders from behind the thing and just making those quips where you don't necessarily need to see him, but you hear him.
Well, they did say there's going to be restaurants. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff.
Exactly, right? There's so much potential there. I'm so excited.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of opportunity there to kind of introduce a whole new land that will really capture the imaginations of fans.
And just think of the merchandising that they're gonna print money. So listen, you're gonna recoup. So go big, make it massive. But no, that was obviously the highlight of a really, really incredible experience showcase. There's so much going on that we didn't even talk about. 2 new Spider-Man rides, roller coasters going in overseas in Asia. Like, there's just so much in the pipeline for the next 4 to 5 years in the Disney park going experiences that it's already like, oh, I got to plan this trip now. I got to go back to Paris already. There's just there's just so much exciting news. It was worth waiting for a few years to get these concrete developments, and the panel was one of my best live event experiences I've ever had.
Awesome. Well, that wasn't the last showcase that we got to enjoy. We did just wrap the Disney Legends showcase. It was fantastic. I'm going to pass the mic. Darcy, what did you think?
Well, again, it's incredible to see all the inductees this year. They're what I think binds them all, and they all talked about it before, is what they do it for. They do it because they're storytellers, and the memories you have at parks, the memories you have from going to the movies, the memories you have with interactions somewhere. They're all they're stories that we live through, and these people are giving us those moments, and to see them get the recognition and to be so grateful that and acknowledge that they wouldn't be here without the fans, and they're fans of everything Disney. And Disney's just, they make memories, and stories are just memories. I love it.
And this was another example of just such top-notch storytelling. The show was so well done. I've seen WrestleMania Hall of Fame ceremonies that went on for 3 hours, and they were long and they dragged. This show moved so beautifully. Everyone got a chance to. It was more so the introduction tour telling us why these people are so special and the magic that they brought to our lives in one way or another. And I just thought the show was handled so elegantly. Closing off with John Williams and a live orchestral performance was incredible. And there was just such a wide array of people honored tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I would have loved, because Darcy, lucky Darcy has gotten to see John Williams technically in concert, or at least for a few songs, at Star Wars Celebration. And I didn't, but I watched it streamed in a different room. So hearing that he wasn't able to make it tonight was a little disappointing. I wish all the best for. I hope he's okay. I just hope he's just busy. He's a busy guy. Maybe he's working on some new Star Wars stuff. But speaking of Star Wars stuff, for me, the moment that really hit, and it was kind of right away, right? They kind of started with Harrison Ford. And I will say, I'm used to Harrison Ford being, curmudgeon-y, grumpy Harrison Ford sometimes, and we've gotten to see him over the some of the press stuff with Captain America kind of be a little goofy and what have you. But seeing him get so emotional really hit and really was impactful, and I was really happy to see that side of him. And you can just tell how much he cares about what he does, and he cares about the people around him that have gotten him to where he's gotten. And it was really, really interesting to see him getting choked up, because again, I'm just used to rah, 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 rah. So it was awesome to see him get inducted into Disney Legends.
Yeah, I think it was great to see all of these people get inducted. And as you said, Darcy, the big theme was celebrating not just them, but the fans that have put them there, and have created an everlasting legacy that they would be remembered for. at Disney. So I think it was a really nice way to kind of close out this massive fan event, which is D23, by celebrating some legendary individuals and their legacy. So it was really great. All right, well, we're running long on this podcast, so before we wrap, I have one last question, one highlight from this convention. I'm if it's okay, I'm gonna just kind of kick it off real quick. My favorite part of this convention was the Marvel animation panel.
You stole mine. Dang it.
Which was hosted by Brandon Davis from comicbook.com.
Shout out to Brandon Davis.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon Davis. We actually ran into him and were able to say, like, you killed it. But that panel just gave us so much. I'll share the love. We'll talk about it together. But I am just excited for what is next for Marvel animation and the idea that they have been sort of developing a lot of these series behind the scenes, but there's such an attention to it. There is such an attention to not just the art and the style, but the stories that they're telling. It's beautiful.
Yeah, again, like you said, the story and the art both are incredibly varied across the products they announced. We got to see sneak peeks of Eyes of Wakanda, new zombie stuff. The Spider-Man show looks incredible, and all these have such unique animation designs where, yes, we are familiar with What If, but we haven't seen an MA What If, and just all the potential they have in the Marvel animation panel. Like you said, Justin, in your tweet, when's the movie coming, please? Because we can see how well a Spider-Man animated movie does. Marvel, the potential is there. Take the reins, please. Anyways, you guys, who wants to take the next highlight?
Yeah, I think for me it's obvious. I'm a big parks guy, and so this was just such an exciting year for that kind of news. And I think what I'm taking away most is just how committed they are to keeping the park going experience fresh, and constantly pushing themselves to try new things. I think especially in the wake of Universal Orlando opening up a brand new gate with 5 lands in it, it was like put up or shut up time for Disney. They needed to do something in Disney World to say, hey, we're still the kings around here. And I think the announcements specifically for Disney World for me got me just so excited. But again, all around the world, every park is just changing, evolving, and constantly growing, and it'll be new memories to experience for years and years to come.
And I think for myself, obviously I led us through the entertainment side of things. That for me was the single greatest live presentation I've ever seen. We've been to San Diego Comic-Con. We've been to Star Wars Celebrations. We've seen live events, and nothing compared to what we experienced there. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Considering we saw panels on, early on the Friday morning in what was the main presentation room at the last D23 event, or at least Star Wars Celebration, that was, a little 5,000 seat auditorium. And to move into this full-sized arena with 12,000 people and wristbands and laser beams and pyro.
It was just, it's unbelievable. If you get the opportunity to go to their next entertainment event for the next D23, I recommend it. But I will kind of close out my thoughts with just the people. I also just want to shout out the people, because one of the coolest things is getting to come here. Justin, you mentioned Brandon Davis, and we got to we were inspired by what he does, right? Or getting to quickly say hi to Dimeech, and getting to sort of meet different people in line even, right? Like, I think for me, getting to talk with, a cast member named Stephanie and her dad, Carlos, and just talk about all the exciting things that we got to experience and how our con was going, right? Or getting to chat with Russell and Claire and their son, Remy, and just sort of, kind of just making friends in lines. I think that's the big thing, is we talked about how busy this convention is. And when you get through the lineup and you go through the experience, that it's absolutely going to be worth it. But take the time to talk to the people around you, because we're all huge fans, and you're going to make friends, and it's just so much fun.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. They say that Celebration, but like anywhere you look at these things, they love the same things you do. So that's an easy starting point to talk about it, and you can easily find something in common and go from there. And that's the great thing about these conventions, and specifically these very focused conventions.
And the coolest person that I got a chance to chat with today, specifically because we did stop by the Imagineering, experience essentially, was Lanny Smoot. who is an American electrical engineer, inventor, and scientist. He has over 100 patents. He's Disney's most prolific inventor, and in fact, he's he's one of the most prolific Black inventors in American history. And there, the Inventor Hall of Fame. There's two people, Walt Disney and Lanny Smoot. And so getting to see the holotile in person was so cool, and hear him talk about it and just how passionate he is about these things, and also just how candid he is. I'm like, how soon can I use the Force, Lanny? And he goes, it's going to happen. Don't you worry. So really, really phenomenal to just sort of get to see all walks of life, get to see the fandom side, get to see the people behind it, get to talk to the people that inspire us to do what we do as fans. And that's where really a lot of the magical feelings came from while we were on the show floor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, again, to kind of lead us to our close here, conventions are like D23, Comic-Con, Fan Expo, any of the Star Wars celebrations that we've been to. They're opportunities to celebrate the fandom with people, make friends, and connect. And that's very much why we are who we are, is because of we share those experiences together, and we get to meet new people every day, and people, like you said, Nate, that inspire us. So yeah, this was a good con, and who knows, maybe we'll be back in 2 years. We'll definitely see. Well, that is it for our quick and dirty wrap up of
I wouldn't say quick, but maybe a little dirty.
Quick compared to this weekend.
We
Yes.
an hour and a half long podcast about one night.
Yes, absolutely. So I think this is actually probably pretty reasonable. But listen, that is it for our D23 recap for This Week in Geek. Again, a huge shout out to our friends at Disney Studios Canada for coming through and hooking us up with those tickets for the D23 Studio Showcase and the D23 Experience Showcase. Like, it really means a lot to have been in that crowd with the fans experiencing all the news live. It was incredible. So a huge shout out to them. But if you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to see more of our D23 coverage, well, be sure to follow us on all of our socials. As Nate mentioned, we live tweeted both showcase events. I made some stories, which you can go find in the highlights section. They're already there. You can go and enjoy them. There's some other fun stuff from some things that we got up to, some of the different experiences and activations that they had. So you want to check us out on Twitter at GeekcentricYT and on Instagram at We Are Geekcentric. And if you enjoy this episode, feel free to let us know by reaching out at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. More content to come. In the coming days, videos, more content to come. So make sure you're looking at our socials. Right now, we got a ton of episodes out. I'm not gonna remember any of what's out right now because it's super late, and we need to wrap this up. So
We got a plane to catch.
yeah, we got a plane to catch. So until next time, as we say,
Love ya.
Laters.
Get home safe, guys.
peace.